What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Splash Sisters. I'm Hana.
And I'm Ev.
And today we're going to be talking about the first round, and it's been a couple games for each team, and it's actually been so exciting this year so far.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time in a long time you just don't know who's gonna win. I mean, maybe the Nuggets, but I feel like there's some teams that could upset them, you know?
But the thing is, this is the first in a while where the first round, there's many series you don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
For example, the Bucks versus Pacers. I have no idea. We don't know anything about Giannis when he's coming back, but it's still an exciting series. It's probably gonna go down to the wire. The Mavs Clippers can go either way. I have no idea who's gonna win that one. It's just really good so far. Even Philly versus the Knicks, I have no idea who's gonna win that one. I really hope it's my team, but we'll see what happens. And there's probably a couple more that are so close, and it's two teams playing each other that should not be playing each other because they're both very good. Let's start off talking about the Celtics versus the Heat. Obviously, this series, everyone can predict what's going to happen. The Heat will probably get swept. If they win a game, I'll be surprised because Jimmy Butler isn't playing. The Celtics are just overloading on the Heat every single game. The Heat, there's literally nothing the Heat can do against this team.
Yeah, I think it's just a classic case of first seed versus eighth seed. If you're the eighth seed, you're most likely supposed to get blown out. But if Jimmy was playing, you already know it wasn't a regular eighth seed. But now that Jimmy isn't, yeah, they literally had no chance, no shot to begin with.
Exactly, and the Celtics, they could win this series in their sleep, and this is probably the least exciting first round playoff series. Every other one I think is pretty good, but this one is just terrible. I can't wait till it's over. But let's talk about the Celtics, right, Mev? Do you think they're a super team?
I don't think you can classify them as a super team. It's because they obviously drafted Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Kristaps Porzingis they picked up, but other than that, I know Derek White. Everyone thought he was gonna be an All-Star this year. Well, I thought he deserves to be an All-Star, but it's not fair to call any team that's really good a super team. How many super teams have there been?
They're literally.
The Celtics are a super team. How many other super teams have there been? They haven't even won a championship.
The Celtics won 64 games. I get what you're trying to say. They initially did draft their two best players, and they developed them, and they started off as a homegrown, very good team. But as soon as they traded for Kristaps and Derek White and Jrue Holiday, they became a super team. Because you can't say team isn't a super team. It's just, that's just crazy.
So are the Nuggets a super team? You can't call any good team
the Nuggets.
A super team.
The Nuggets are a super team.
They are?
They aren't.
So how are they not a super team? They picked up Aaron Gordon.
Because the Celtics.
You pick up good players.
Listen, the Celtics had it in their mind to create a super team, which is why they traded Marcus Smart, which is why they traded all their other players they drafted, and they acquired other players on other teams to create the super team. That's why when LeBron went to Miami, Bosh, they had the intention of creating a super team by teaming up in free agency and all of that. That's why the Nuggets are not a super team, because they literally drafted Nikola Jokic in the second round, and he's the one that created that foundation for the Nuggets. And they weren't going out of their way to create super teams intentionally like the Celtics did.
The Celtics are not a super team. You can't tell me just because they picked up Jrue Holiday, Derek White,
they won 64 games. They won 64 games. They're statistically one of the best teams of all time.
Okay, what if they drafted? I mean, what if they picked up? You know how they picked up this?
They are not some regular team.
What if they were all bad? They ended up sucking. Are they still a super team?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Obviously not, Mev. What are you talking about?
I'm saying you can't just pick and choose when a team is a super team. You can't. You really
Mev, I really think I'm losing brain cells here.
No, I'm losing brain cells because you're trying to call a very good team a super team now.
You are the part of the minority with Celtics fans who try and claim this team isn't a super team. So when they eventually fail in the playoffs, their slander gets a lot less than it should be. But overall, if this team fails in the playoffs, they should 100% get a lot of slander, because there's no excuse for them not to win a championship this year.
That's not true.
Man, they are a super team.
They're not even. Some people, they're not even unanimously the best team in the league. There's other teams that people.
Yes,
think
they are unanimously. They should be the best team.
They're one of the best teams in the league, but you don't even know for sure.
They have one of the best starting fives of all time. The reason if they fail is the reason is they choked. That's why. In the regular season, they were the best team on both sides of the floor by far. They have multiple players who are like a top 30, 35 players. They have all 5 of their starting 5. You can argue are some of the best players in the league.
Agree to disagree.
So, in my opinion, the reason why I think that Jason Tatum has the most to prove out of any star in the NBA or out of any player in the NBA is because he is on a super team. And he's at that point where he has all the experience you can have, especially in the playoffs. So he should be able to lead the Celtics to a championship. And I think the Celtics are a better team, overall team, than the Nuggets are. But the reason why I think the Nuggets are going to win is because they're just mentally tougher than the Celtics are. And that matters a lot in the playoffs. The Celtics 100% have more talent overall. And Jason Tatum being their best player, that's why I honestly think that pound for pound, him against Jokic will not turn out well. He really will lose. And Jason Tatum has never had a superstar playoff series ever. He eventually led his team to the playoffs to the NBA Finals in 2022, but he had a very bad series. He only had one game shooting 50% from the field.
You and a lot of other people forget that Jason Tatum is not even 27 years old yet. LeBron won his first ring.
I don't care about his age.
Let me talk. LeBron won his first ring at 26 years old. This guy, Jason Tatum, has brought his team as a young player to the finals twice. What else do you want him to do? Win a ring? Once. Oh my god. He's been to the finals. How many people have not been to the finals?
He's been to the finals with a stacked team. Jason Tatum has always had the most stacked rosters and has not been able to deliver.
You can't say he's had the most stacked rosters.
He has. And this
Because
year,
you're literally putting all the fault on him.
This year, the Celtics gave him the stackest of rosters.
I feel
and there's still a chance that there's still people not thinking the Celtics are going to win it all because Jason Tatum is their leading guy. They don't trust him to lead their team to a championship, and I know I don't.
Wait, listen here. Every year before this year, I feel like you can't blame Tatum. He was young as well as his team. This year is the year where he has to prove himself, and you're not wrong.
I am not wrong. I'm never wrong.
All the slander before this year was crazy in my opinion. I don't think he deserved it, but this year
he did because he consistently falls short when it matters most.
Again, he was young. Even like I said, LeBron.
It's always the he's young excuse for Jason Tatum. He's not young anymore. He's at the prime of his career.
That's what I just said. This is the time because the slander will be crazy if he chokes.
The Celtics have the best team in the league, and the only reason they'll lose is because their stars are not going to play up to what they usually play up to, which translates to choking. They're going to choke in the playoffs. They just are. And if they don't, Jason Tatum will finally prove himself. He'll prove that he's a top 5 player in the NBA by far. And I'm sorry, but if you give any other superstar player the roster Tatum has, they will 100% be... No one would question that they would win it all this year. Like, for example, LeBron was never gifted... In LeBron's first stint with the Cavaliers, he was never gifted such great rosters like Tatum has had, which is why it took LeBron so long to win his first championship. He had to leave the Cavaliers because he's had enough with their bad roster reconstruction, and he finally decided to leave and do what was best for his career. But Jason Tatum is surrounded by a great front office who does literally everything for him and tries to build a great team around him every year.
I'm sorry, but these expectations on Jason Tatum are crazy.
People claim he's one of the best players in the league, and we are holding him up to that standard. So if he cannot win a championship or lead the stacked-ass team that won 64 games to an NBA Finals and win that championship, I'm sorry, but he has a disappointing season, period. And you know I'm right. I'm right, because if any other superstar was given this roster, and no one would question that they'd win it all this year. But Jason Tatum continuously falls short in the playoffs and plays like absolute donkey shit every single year. And he shoots like 10 for 31 from the field every game. He's had multiple
he's had multiple great series. You're thinking about when he choked in the finals, okay?
He has multiple great series until it gets to when it matters most. And usually his great series are against terrible teams. Or he has like multiple bad games per playoffs. He's never, like I mentioned before, he's never had a superstar playoff run where people were just scared to go up against him. People are scared to go people are scared to go up against the Celtics in general because they're always an overall well-rounded team, but no one is ever scared of Tatum specifically. No one fears Tatum in the playoffs. That's why if the Nuggets are playing the Celtics, I really do think that the Nuggets will see them as barbecue chicken. I'm sorry, it's just gonna happen. And Jason Tatum has to be the one to lead that Celtics team because the rest of the team will lead his example. If he's shitting the bed, they're all gonna shit the bed. That's my prediction this year. I think the Celtics will get to the finals, but they will shit the bed against the Nuggets.
My weird prediction is every single season so far, it's like one series Jason Tatum plays like shit, one series Jaylen Brown plays like shit. I feel like this is the year where they're both gonna show like how good they really are because you know how many times there's been talk like, oh my god, we have to trade one of the Jays, this that, like. People forget how young they still are, and they have a lot of good years in front of them. So my prediction is that Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are gonna have like their best playoff seasons yet this season. Oh my god, I'm like stumbling. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is gonna be their year, and I really think they have a chance to win it all this year.
They should be the ones to win it all this year, and if they don't, it's a choke. I'm sorry.
Anyways, enough about the Celtics. Hannah, let's talk about your Knicks. So the Knicks won the first two games, and there was a lot of controversy around the foul call in the second game.
So
what do you think about that?
Basically, let's go off. First, let's start with game one. Game one was a very good game. The Sixers started off really hot. They were at a point where they were up like 10 plus points on us in the first half, but the Knicks fought back, and then we kind of evened the score before halftime. But once halftime started, we were in the driver's seat the rest of the game. The Knicks really didn't have an answer for a lot of the Knicks role players. For example, Josh Hart was hitting multiple threes, like he turned into Steph Curry in the first game, and Mitchell Robinson was doing literally everything in his power to win that game for us. He was playing amazing defense. He held Embiid to a really bad field goal percentage, and he was just playing great defense all around, doing what needed to be done, offensive rebounds. And Jalen Brunson really did not have a great game. What Philly is doing really well is being able to just make it tough on Brunson by putting bigger guards to defend him and just tiring Brunson out. And it just shows because Brunson, obviously, like I mentioned a lot of times, Brunson is the undersized guard. So if you game plan around him, you can definitely game plan around him because he doesn't have another star with him. So if you can focus on him, it'll get tough. But guess what happened? Even though Brunson was held to terrible field goal percentages in the first two games, the role players really stepped up. And we got to talk about the Knicks role players. The Knicks have the best group of role players in the league by far. There's literally like 7 great role players on one team, and that's what willed the Knicks to wins in both games.
I think that's really impressive considering for the Knicks, it's the role players winning games, and for the Sixers, obviously, it's the stars like Embiid and Maxey. They combined for like 70 points and still lost. But you can't expect that for every single game. Like Embiid and Maxey aren't going to combine for 70 in every single game. Their role players might step up. But, you know, Jalen Brunson, is he a playoff choker? Like, what do you think?
No, listen. People are really overreacting over 2 bad games Brunson has had. Brunson has overall a very great playoff resume. And he's done very good in the playoffs up to this point. And I really think the reason is because he is that main guy, and it's gonna take a while for him to finally like adapt to being that main guy on this team, because he's never been the main guy before until he got to the Knicks. And overall, you can't call someone a playoff choker because of 2 bad playoff games. The series is not over yet, and there's many games left to be had. And like Matt mentioned before, the thing with Philly is what they've been lacking in the first 2 games have been just overall team productivity. And defensively, I think the Sixers have been good, especially at limiting Brunson, but they have not been able to limit the role players at all. The Knicks have the best group of role players in the league by far. 2 of them are capable of taking over any game. Like they literally take turns taking over games. Like Isaiah Hartenstein took over game 2, especially in the clutch. Josh Hart took over both games. Miles McBride took over the first game. Dante DiVincenzo took over the second game. Mitchell Robinson took over the first game. Like, they literally take turns taking over games. Like, Bojan Bogdanovic hits some great shots. OG Anunoby too. If you consider him a role player, I don't know, but he also does like the silent. He's like a silent killer. Like he'll do the silent things. He hasn't been going crazy, but overall the Knicks have the best role players in the league by far, and it just shows and it proves it because they are able to win games even with Brunson not playing up to his level.
You know what's funny? The Knicks, like you said, you have the best like role players bench in the league. If you put like Booker and KD or LeBron and AD with the Knicks like role players and everything and bench, that they would both win. That's all they need. LeBron and KD and Booker need help. Like both those teams, like it just sucks that if you don't have a good team, like that's it. Like you need to be well-rounded all.
Bruh, LeBron and AD with all these role players, they sweep every single team. They go 16-0 in the playoffs.
Same with Booker.
They go 16-0 in the playoffs. Anyways, back to your question earlier. That controversial ending in the Knicks vs 76ers game 2. Number 1, the Knicks did foul Tyrese Maxey on the inbounds. But number 1, Kyle Lowry, horrible inbounds pass, horrible. Because it did, honestly, he was off balance. It was easy for Josh Hart to pick at it, right? He did end up fouling. But overall, we got the ball, and we knocked down a clutch-ass 3, Dante DiVincenzo. But that was before that, Hartenstein got a crucial rebound that could have been prevented if the Sixers weren't being lazy at rebounding. They weren't even trying. They were not trying at all. We had 2 back-to-back clutch 3s that could have been defended. They were playing terrible defensively. We had 2 back-to-back 3s. Then after that, the Sixers had a chance to be in the driver's seat once again. But we played a tremendous defense on them. We blocked Tyrese Maxey. Isaiah Hartenstein literally took over that game defensively and with his rebounding. And then after that, they had another chance to get a game winner, and Tyrese Maxey missed the shot. Like, I'm sorry, even though the refs were terrible, that does not excuse that they had many opportunities to win the game. Many.
And it's not just this series. All you see on the timeline is people complaining about the refs. I don't even like to look at the timeline sometimes. Like, it's literally everyone complaining about the refs, and it's annoying. Like, what was the game yesterday that they blew? It was the Lakers, right? Lakers versus Nuggets. And I'm a LeBron and AD fan. Like, I wanted the Lakers to win this year. But they complained about one call when they literally blew a 20-point lead. Like, I don't care. If you blow a 20-point lead, that you're not allowed to complain about the refs. You're just not. Like, you blew a 20-point lead. At that point, like, you deserve to lose the game. Don't complain about the refs.
Exactly.
Jeez,
like, the refs will make bad calls, but it's like it will never completely alter a whole entire game. Like Matt mentioned, the Lakers blew a 20-point lead, but that was one bad call, but they still could have had control of the game, just like the Sixers. And the Sixers are acting like the league is out to get them when the refs are bad to every single team. The refs are consistently terrible to every single team in the league. And they're not mentioning how they got so many calls their way in that game, which is crazy.
I know, but I see where the Sixers fans were mad because of that play at the end is you guys ended up getting a game winner from it. So, like, that's a little bit different, you know? Like, you have to see, like...
They had many opportunities to take the lead, and they didn't. I'm sorry, but their inability to make shots is not our fault. The refs did not make those 2 clutch 3s for us. The refs did not block Tyrese Maxey. The refs did not rebound for us. We just executed way better towards the end, and the refs also had many calls that favored the Sixers, but the Sixers are not saying shit. They're crying about one call. Stephen A. Smith, the fakest Knicks fan I've ever seen in my entire life, claiming that the refs robbed the Sixers. No, do you know what robbed the Sixers? Themselves. Outside of Embiid and Maxey, the Sixers have no offensive production from anyone else. Anyone else at all. The Knicks have heavily outscored the Sixers bench by far. And the Sixers, the only thing that they're doing is playing some defense, but overall, Tobias Harris terrible, Kelly Oubre terrible, Nicholas Batum terrible, etc. They're all terrible at shoot. They have not scored at all. Tyrese and Joel Embiid have literally scored 90% of the points for the Sixers. and that's why they're losing these games, not the refs. And they'll always blame the refs because of they can't blame themselves. Especially the Sixers fans are delusional. They really need to look at their team and see that their team is not as good as they thought they were. I'm sorry, that's just the facts.
And I mean, you can relax. Embiid is injured, and I really don't think Embiid can even.
No, I'm not saying shit about Embiid. I'm saying the overall team. They should be stepping up, but they're not.
Yeah, I mean, just because not every team's role players are going to be that good. They're just not. And the Sixers are just not good this year. Like, everyone knew it was not going to be their year. I think they should just rest Embiid and make sure he doesn't get even more injured.
Embiid needs to get out of Embiid really needs to leave the Sixers. He's wasting his prime years there. He's never going to win a championship there. And everyone knows that championships really do heavily outweigh your look on the basketball community. Like, a lot of the times the players who don't win a championship kind of get forgotten compared to the ones who have won championships, and they get discredited. Their whole entire careers get discredited. Like, a lot of people don't think Chris Paul was as good as he was because he never won a championship. People don't think Charles Barkley was as good as he was because he never won a championship. I could go on, and that's why Joel Embiid really needs to leave to a team that could really help him win a championship. And I'm sorry, but the Sixers are not that, and he knows that himself. So I think eventually he's gonna leave the Sixers. He's given them many chances to put a great team around him, and they failed. And Embiid is such a great talent. He's one of the most skilled players of all time, literally. And it's kind of being wasted away on the Sixers. So the next exciting first round series is the Bucks versus Pacers. There's been 2 games so far. The series is split. And game 1, Damian Lillard went off to a crazy start. He was not missing shots. And the role players were stepping up. Middleton played amazing. He's starting to look like himself again, which is a scary sight. And yeah, overall, this Bucks stepped up the whole game, and the Pacers looked like a shell of themselves. They were not hitting the shots that they usually make, and Tyrese Halliburton played very bad. Siakam carried, like he was the only good player on the Pacers in Game 1. But Game 2 was completely different. The Pacers took over from start to finish. They played a lot more physical, and Siakam looked like a superstar out there. Like, it just showed he was showing why he's won a championship before, and no one could stop him that day. And overall, the Pacers look scary. They look like their regular season selves, and they were not missing at all, especially in the second half.
Yeah, the Bucks should be like very nervous if Giannis doesn't come back. Like, they have a really big shot to lose.
Yeah, there's still not a timetable for Giannis to return. The Pacers are really in the driver's seat in this series. They should win 1 or 2 games at home. There's a real possibility that they'll win both. And Giannis, who knows when he's coming back? I honestly don't think it's good. I don't think he's going to come back until later in the series, but it might be too late, like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, because the Pacers, they kind of figured it out in Game 2, and I really think they're going to be hard to stop going forward, especially if Halliburton gets it going. Siakam, no one could guard him until Giannis comes back. Giannis is literally all the answers to their prayers, and they don't know when he's coming back. Damian Lillard was shooting very well in Game 2, and it still wasn't enough. The Pacers were not missing any shots, and they were showing why they're the best offense in the league. And I feel really bad for Giannis because I do think that this Bucks team, if he plays, they're very good, and they are a finals contender. The Orlando Magic, honestly, is the worst team in the playoffs this year. Their lack of experience is showing. The fact that they're relying, as an offense, they're relying on Paolo Banchero to run the offense when that's not even his strength yet, is telling. A lot of their team members are just unable to make shots efficiently, or it's just not working out for them. Their spacing is terrible, and Banchero honestly has been really good, but no one else is really helping him out, and the Cavs are just shooting lights out, and their size too is too much for the Magic to handle, and this could really look like a sweep really on the Cavs end. We predicted Cavs in 5, but who knows? They might not be able to win a game. The Cavs are just head and shoulders above them.
The lights aren't too bright for Jarrett Allen this year because he's playing so well, and we love to see that. And yeah,
he had 16 points, 20 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks, and he was just unstoppable. And the Magic really had no answer for him, especially the Cavs size. They have Mobley and Jarrett Allen in the paint on both ends. They're both tough to stop because of their length, and it's just not going to happen for the Magic this year. The good thing is that they do have a great young core. I've complimented their young core for years now, and after they drafted Banchero, they have a future now. And I did like watching them play, but it's just tough watching them this series. They just look so out of sync and confused out there, and their offense honestly is not built for the playoffs.
Yeah, we need to give them a couple years.
Many people were saying the Suns were going to win this series. Cough, cough.
Me? I said that?
Yes, you said that. You have short-term memory loss.
Okay,
You said the Wolves team is overall better, but you're not taking them over a Book and KD led team. Well, a Book and KD led team have answered to nothing.
What was I cooking, bro?
Ever since they teamed up?
I was really delusional. I'm a KD fan now, and I was really rooting for KD.
People don't realize that star power doesn't mean shit in the NBA nowadays. Two players cannot will a team to a championship. It's just not going to happen. You need a great overall team. I really do.
Yeah, I can't even believe I said that. The Suns, like, they're just bad. They have no chemistry. Like, I don't even know how they even made the playoffs at this point. Like, they don't know what to do out there. They, like you said, 36-year-old KD, like, he can't carry them. That whole team is trash. Like, I literally can't.
They really are trash,
just it, man. That's it. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. They're trash.
The thing is, outside of their big three, even their big three played terrible. They were missing so many shots. Once your best players are not playing well, the rest of the team is not going to play well either. That's just facts. They set the tempo for everyone else, and they were all shooting terribly. In the second game, first game it was a blowout. Like, the Suns had no chance. Game 2, the Suns had a chance to win that game. They were up the whole entire first half, but as soon as the second half happened, they faltered. They completely shut down, and I really think the Wolves' size, speed, physicality was too much for them to handle, because they gave up so much on the defensive side. Like, as soon as the Timberwolves kept scoring, cutting that lead down, they weren't doing anything at all.
I mean, everyone already knew the Suns have no defense. Like, to win games, everyone knew that it'd have to be put all on KD, Book, and Beal. Like, if they're playing like shit, like, they're gonna lose. And again, you can't win games on one side of the court. You have to win games on both sides of the court, and the Timberwolves are just better in both aspects. That's basically it.
I honestly think the Timberwolves might be the most complete basketball team in the NBA this year. Just based on defense, they will put their all in defense, and they've been exposing the Suns' offense so much this year. I mean, in this playoff series, while also offensively, even Gobert's been getting his. Mike Conley's been leading that offense like I told you guys he would. Anthony Edwards, they have no answer for him. He's just too fast, strong for them. No one could guard him. Cat has also been really good on both ends, I feel like. And their bench, Naz Reid, especially Nickeil Alexander.
Jared Vanderbilt.
No,
why did I say Jared Vanderbilt?
Jaden McDaniels.
Oh my, I always mix
Jaden
them
McDaniels
up.
had a career night in game 2. Overall, like I mentioned, the Wolves' size slash speed slash physicality is too much for the Suns to handle. The Suns rely on, honestly, shooting, and when their shots are not falling, they can't do anything else. Their supporting cast is terrible. They have no one that they can rely on coming off the bench, or even they have no one that they can rely on in general, because Book has not been playing up to his standard. Kevin Durant either, and Bradley Beal is just, he's cooked. We really do need a scientific study, and so we can study how Beal dropped off so much in just a couple years. He averaged 30 in back-to-back seasons, and that's why the Suns traded for him, but he has not been himself. He does not look like himself at all.
I mean, again, injuries screwed up a lot of things this year, but
not even, bro. He just looks like a shell of himself. I get injuries, but he has not been impactful at all whatsoever. But we gotta talk about the Suns. They're having back-to-back mediocre seasons after trading for Kevin Durant. And honestly, was that trade worth it? I honestly think that it wasn't. And the Suns lost the trade. They really did.
I think it was a lose-lose situation because neither team improved.
But the thing is, at least the Brooklyn Nets got some they got some first-round picks. The Suns really got nothing because they mortgaged away their future for back-to-back mediocre seasons. And Kevin Durant, it was a risk to trade for him in the first place. He was coming off injuries while also being a little older. And they traded away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks, a pick swap, I believe. And yeah, honestly, that trade just was not even worth it
Honestly,
at all in the long run. It's going to be worth nothing. And yeah, the Suns, honestly, I don't think there's anything they can do to contend for a championship.
I think that's just a lesson that you can't trade depth for star power. Never. Like, I usually does not
Yeah,
work out.
I mentioned before, star power doesn't mean shit in the NBA anymore unless you have a good team around you. And three players cannot lead a team to a championship all on their own, because a more well-rounded team will always one up them, always. Let's talk about the heartbreak of Lakers fans after they were in the driver's seat the whole entire game against the Nuggets in Game 2, but then Jamal Murray went absolutely nuclear in the fourth and was not missing any shots. It's just disappointing because a team that played better the whole game ended up losing because they just can't close games, and they're just not mentally there as much as the Nuggets are. The Nuggets are always going to one up them because they're better like physically and emotionally, if we're being honest.
Yeah, the Nuggets will, like, there's never a lead safe against the Nuggets. Like, it could be a 35, 40-point lead. They're not losing the game. They're at least going to cut it
in the
close.
playoffs, yeah.
They're at least going to cut it close. And I don't know, the Lakers, they were looking all comfortable, this and that, like when they're up 20. Yeah, no, I knew that was going to happen. Like, I literally knew they were going to lose that lead. They did the same thing last year. Like, every game got so close, but they didn't know how to close games. It's just frustrating. Like, I'm not even a Lakers
Honestly,
fan.
the NBA writers are all on strike. The script writers, they're all on strike because every Lakers-Nuggets game is the same. The Nuggets let the Lakers believe that they have a chance. The Lakers do lead a lot of the time, but then the Nuggets start firing at them at all cylinders in the fourth quarter where it really matters, and they just do not miss anything. Jamal Murray was guarded very well the whole game. He was 9 for 24 overall, but when it mattered most, he was not missing a single shot. And that's what the Nuggets really do, flip a switch whenever they want. And that's why I do believe that they're the most dangerous team in the NBA. And there's really not a team that can beat them this year. They probably will go back to back. And as a basketball fan, it does not make me happy. I don't like seeing the same teams win over and over again. I love underdogs winning. And I honestly believe any team besides the Celtics and the Nuggets are an underdog. So if any team besides those two win, I'll be really happy. But I just don't see that happening this year.
I mean, yeah, the Nuggets, they're coming off a win. They have the best chemistry in the league, and you can't even debate that. Jokic is the best player in the world, in the league, so they already have so many advantages to other teams. And yeah, it'll just take like a Murray choke job and a Jokic choke job for them to lose a series, and I just don't see that happening. I don't see them losing 4 games. There's absolutely no way.
So 3 teams that we think have the best chance of beating the Nuggets in a playoff series are the Boston Celtics, obviously, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. And a lot of you guys might think, oh, how are the Bucks going to beat them? How are the Clippers going to beat them? How are the Celtics going to beat them? Number one, if we're being honest, the Celtics have the best chance because they have overall a very good defensive team that can make it really tough for the Celtics. They have 2 great perimeter defenders in the starting lineup that can honestly make it tough for Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is not invincible, but Jrue Holiday, honestly, he's the most reliable person in the NBA, and I think they can make it hard for Jamal Murray.
Definitely, because Jamal shot 9 for 24 in both games against the Lakers. So, and even last year, people forget that Jamal Murray played like shit in like the first and second round, and in the finals against the Lakers is when he turned up, and that's what he's remembered by, playing crazy. But yeah, he's not always like that, and he could definitely. The Celtics already have way better defenders for Murray.
The thing is with the Celtics, no Kristaps, that's barbecue chicken for Nikola Jokic. My thing is, if you can figure out the rest of the team, if you can contain the rest of the team, but let Jokic get his own cook, I think they really have a chance because overall Jokic does not win games on his own. His teammates do step up, and obviously because of him, but at the same time, his teammates are very good. So I really don't think Jokic can win a game on his own. The Celtics do focus more on Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, because we all know they can't guard Jokic.
But they have guys for everybody. That's the thing. The Celtics, the defense is the best against the Nuggets. Even the Timberwolves. defense is what will make the Nuggets lose. Whatever team plays the best defense against them. And again, obviously the Celtics also have offense too. Like we said, they're probably the most on both sides of the court. So I really think Celtics are the only team that can beat the Nuggets. That's what I think. Why do you think that the Clippers can beat them? I'm really curious as to why you think Clippers can beat the Nuggets.
So, in my opinion, I feel like the Clippers have a very well-rounded team, and they have multiple players who, honestly, Paul George, you never know what kind of playoff series he's gonna have, but he's been very good this year. And Kawhi Leonard has won 2 championships. He's leading that team, and he has a great team around him. Kawhi Leonard is playing again. He did look rusty, but he'll be fine if he gets to that point. Like he'll get the rust off. And the Clippers role players I think are better than the Nuggets role players because Russell Westbrook has been amazing this year. He's been that energy that the Clippers need, and he's been pulling off amazing key plays for the Clippers and just giving his all whenever he's there. Also, Norman Powell too. They have multiple players. Terrence Mann has been amazing. They have multiple role players outside of their big 3 who can step up. Ivica Zubac has honestly been one of the best bigs in the playoffs this year. So far, there's only been 2 games, but still. I saw someone say that he is the best Jokic defender, and I see it because he does have the size and body type to go pound for pound for Jokic. Obviously, Jokic is still going to play amazing, but Zubac is a very good defender, and he's also a very good post scorer too. And they do match up very well against the Nuggets. And their big 3 can honestly make it really tough for the Nuggets. The Clippers do have more good players on their team. They just really gotta utilize every player the right way because the Nuggets obviously do have the experience over them, the chemistry, and obviously the Nuggets will still win, but the Clippers do match up very well with them. But we still have to see if the Clippers are going to pass the first round. And then I also said the Bucks because, number 1, Giannis and Jokic match up dominance-wise. Not a single person in the league can match up dominance-wise against Jokic except for Giannis. He's the only one. The Nuggets do not have an answer for healthy Giannis. He will get his own, and Jokic will get his own. We all know that matchup is set. Guard-wise, Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is also a lights-out shooter. He can also turn the tide and flip the switch just as much as Jamal Murray does. So right there off the bat, they got a matchup at point guard. They have a matchup at center. Whoever wins that series really depends on the role players because the matchup right there, the Damian Lillard, Jamal Murray, Giannis, and Jokic will be fighting, clawing at each other. Like I said, the dominance really does match. So it really depends on the overall team. And the Bucks team is honestly good. Chris Middleton has been looking like himself. Brook Lopez can also he's Splash Mountain for a reason. He can shoot threes, hit key shots, also play defense. Aaron Gordon, honestly, I think the Nuggets role players like Aaron Gordon and KCP are the best role players in the league, for being honest. So I think but the main thing is the dominant side. I think Giannis is the only one that can make it tough for the Nuggets team. I really do think that. The Mavs vs. Clippers so far has been amazing because I really don't know who's going to win this series. Game 1, the Clippers dominated without Kawhi, but Game 2, the Mavs really did look like themselves, and they were hitting great shots and playing great defense on the Clippers. So I really don't know who's going to win the series. Kawhi is back, though, which is good.
I think the Clippers have more of a team than the Mavs. And, like, you already know they have Kawhi, Paul George, Russ. So many players that have a lot more playoff experience. And then the Mavs just have Kyrie and Luka, and then the rest of the team is like, okay,
the Mavs team, well. Like, I was really high on the Mavericks because their overall team is very good, but like Mev said, they don't really have much playoff experience compared to the Clippers. The Clippers have 4 Hall of Famers on their team who have been and done this many times, so it is hard to match up against them. But overall, this series is going to 7 no matter what, and I do think the Mavs will still win. Well, guys, comment down below what you guys think about what we think about the playoffs so far this year. It's been really exciting, and there's been so many good first round series, except the Heat versus Celtics. That series is ass. But comment down below what you guys think. Thanks for watching.